Hello, big people, small people, boys and girls all over the world. My name is TB Weeze, and Spider Man 2 is finally out. I meant to get a recording out there sooner, but uh, yesterday I was a little busy. I got it recorded and just haven't gotten to upload it yet or do the voiceover. But anyway, here's Spider Man 2. Finally, been waiting long enough. I like that right now they've got like a little they're going back over the story from the previous games, and I think they did this very well, kind of making it like a little interview sort of thing or whatever that Miles has to do, and so both Peter and Miles are going over it and everything. But this is very, very, very exciting. Um, but they're kind of just going over everything that's on that's already been going on. I wish I had gotten to do the first Spider-Man and Miles Morales games. Um, I never recorded them on YouTube before. So right now I'm just gonna kind of talk about what I think about Spider-Man 2 so far. Um, my honest thoughts on it. Um, it's definitely been very enjoyable to play. I'm gonna try my best not to give. Uh, I will say there's going to be spoilers no matter what. Um, I actually haven't gotten super far into the game. Um, but I'm just going to I'm just gonna talk about some of the stuff that happened in the game and give my review on what's going on so far. Um, but now the actual game's gonna come in soon. So this was actually very interesting right here. So first off, right there, I think uh, we might have the lizard right there, maybe, but I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen soon. I'm not sure if he's already been the lizard, but it could be. I'm not for certain. But this is nice too because we actually get to see Harry uh, during the first Spider-Man. Obviously, he's going to get some form of the symbiote and everything. For whatever reason, it's not showing the rest of the cutscene. This is frozen for some reason. That's very odd. I don't know why it's doing that. But anyways, it's very interesting that we're, you know, like we were left off with some sort of a symbiote ending on the first game. But anyways, I'll let you guys see it for yourselves at some point if you guys ever want to play the game. Uh, oh, geez, this is all okay. Anyways, we're just gonna get right get right by that. Uh, anyways, it's very interesting. Uh, seeing this part for example, like it's interesting that Peter is now a teacher. Obviously, he's not working for Dr. Octavius anymore. But I think this was a very interesting choice um, to have Peter playing as working as a teacher. I do like that they've got the little they've got like the ASL interpreter sitting right beside him. I think that's a really cool little detail because obviously they've had a few characters who use ASL, um, but that's a really cool little detail that they added. Um, but I think this is a very interesting start to the game and everything because you get a very calm before the storm and everything. I think this interaction was very funny. Um, but uh, it's just very interesting. I think but here we go. You know, both Spider-Man. Uh, I think it's very interesting making Sandman the first villain that you actually go up against. You would think that would actually be one that they would save for later, but this whole thing is really cool, and that was just a beautiful transition right there, right into the gameplay and everything. Controls are very smooth, just like the original. Honestly, maybe just honestly a little bit smoother than the original, but they really did a fantastic job with it. I had a lot of fun with it. Also, thought this was very interesting here. Um, so MJ is working for Jameson now, which I think is uh, that's a very interesting choice. So, because obviously we know that Peter has worked for Jameson in the past, and now MJ is. So I think that's that's a pretty cool way of having a Jameson involved in some way, which we'll actually get back to him later. And there is our boy Sandman. He's just wow. He's very uh yeah. It's again. It's very surprising that they chose Sandman as the first boss that you go up against because just looking at him, I mean, this is just intro to the game. You're not even that far into the game, and you're already taking on a bit of a boss. You know, like compared to the first one. You know, where you're taking on like Fisk, you're taking on the Kingpin. You know, but Kingpin like wasn't a very difficult boss to take down. And even then, it was like you were taking on more of the you were taking on more of like his men first, and then you went up against him, and he was a pretty easy one to take care of. But this, they really upped the difficulty, and I'll say that for most of the game. Really, the difficulty's upped a little bit, and I'm not complaining about that at all. I know there's a lot of people who have been complaining about it being difficult and everything. Even I think IGN, I think when they were reviewing this, they were saying, "Ooh, it's so difficult." Which like really like I don't know why they're complaining that it's difficult because me playing it like even just playing to the beginning of it and everything, it's not difficult at all. It's challenging for sure, but I would never say that there's any like completely ridiculous difficulty to the game. Like it's challenging because you're stepping into something very new for sure. Um, but it's more just like they've added more they've added more to the game, as you can see right here. Like they've got this whole thing going on, um, which is kind of like a little nod to Iron Spider and everything, but more just built into the natural gameplay of the game rather than it just being a normal suit ability. Um, but I think this was something that was kind of interesting, and I kind of had to get used to. Um, and they'll add more stuff as you progress. There's more stuff that's going on, and that was something that I needed to get used to. But again, it wasn't super difficult. It wasn't impossible for me to be able to figure it out. And I think that's just something that a lot of people are not really understanding. Like, if it's really that hard for you, like, I don't know what games you can really handle, because this is Spider-Man's not really that hard. Challenging, but not hard. Again, um, but this is interesting here because it definitely seems like you're getting a very different type of Sandman. I think I was definitely kind of expecting the same type of Sandman from like Spider-Man 3, but this is a little bit different. Not completely ridiculous though. Um, but I've definitely enjoyed the game. But also, like, this was a very, very smooth transition. Like, we all knew that they were going to make a very equal playing for both Peter and Miles, but man, that was just a very smooth transition, playing from Peter and then switching to Miles like that. Like, they did that very, very well. And I'm glad that, like, Miles isn't like a secondary character in this. He's just as much of a main character as Peter is. And I definitely appreciate that, because Miles definitely shouldn't be a secondary character. He definitely should get just as much of a big deal in this as Peter, because they're both Spider-Man, and they both have important roles to play in this. Um, and I'm just glad that you're getting equal playing for both characters and everything. Oh, this was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. I feel like Miles shouldn't have been able to survive that. I know he's Spider-Man and everything, but Jesus Christ. I just thought that was hilarious, and but man, really cool at the same time. I do like that Genki's still involved. You got a lot of the same side characters that you did from both games, and I like that. That too. It Genki figured out that Peter was Spider-Man. I just think that was very funny that Genki actually figured it out. He wasn't supposed to know, I guess, but Genki ended up figuring it out. But that was really cool. The little funny little detail there. I do like that this little, like, when you use Miles' Venom Punch on the Sandman, they freeze. That was a cool little thing, a cool little detail that they added for like specific enemies and stuff. I think that was pretty cool. Combat is smooth as ever. I really love the combat. I feel like it might actually be a little bit smoother than the original, which, I mean, you're gonna feel a little bit of difference here and there compared to the original, because obviously everything from before that they had, they're obviously going to make some improvements on, and man, they really did make a whole lot of improvements, and I definitely appreciate it. Uh, Again, a little challenging. Like, you can see me losing just a little bit of health there, but nothing ridiculous. Definitely something that's just like, you kind of like riding a bike. You gotta just slowly learn everything, and eventually you start to get used to it. Also, web wings. Awesome. I love the web wings. I thought that was a very nice touch. As much as I enjoy swinging around town and everything, using the web wings is so much fun, and it allows you to actually go across areas where there's no buildings or anything. So you're able to go through areas much easier now. You don't have to rely too much on having to swing through everything, because now you've got the web wings. You're able to just glide over everything, and now there's even more to New York than just Manhattan. Um, so you're able to explore more area thanks to the web wings and everything. Um, so I thought that was really really cool. This right here was really cool, but it makes me question whether uh whether Sandman should have survived that or not. I really don't know. And obviously it's all, superheroes and whatever, so it's just like they're gonna say he survived and everything, but really I'm just kind of wondering, like, if there was an actual sand person who just got split up by a bunch of electricity, would they actually survive that? I don't know. I mean, I'm not much. Uh, I don't really understand how that would work. Obviously, this being complete and total fiction, but it's very interesting. Like he's definitely not as bad as all the other criminals. That's very clear here. And I'm pretty sure he's talking about. Uh, well, I won't spoil too much here. And now we've got Craven in here. I think they did a very nice job at introducing Craven into this. Also, they did an awesome job at designing his suit and everything. They did a very nice job. This is how they get him to go to New York and everything. And there's the title right there. Absolutely beautiful intro to the game. Loved it. I definitely enjoyed this little thing here, and I think there's gonna be a lot more of these. I'm sure. These are probably gonna be like the towers in the first game that unlock more map areas. This is yeah, this is very cool how they did this. Like you gotta fly through the rings, but you gotta be careful about it because it's not easy. But it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. This is a really cool feature too. They have multiple skill trees. Like you have one that is for both Peter and Miles, and then you have two others, one for just Peter and one for just Miles. And I think that's a really cool idea. Like, you get some that you can, like, obviously the like both Spider-Men have, their similarities, but they also have their differences, and they have their own special moves that the other one cannot do, and it makes both of them very unique in gameplay. Um, and I just thought that was a really cool idea. Definitely, like, um, further, um, further separating the two as unique characters and everything. I think I really appreciate that, like, a lot, because it's not just two Spider-Men that are gonna control exactly the same. No, they both have their own unique abilities, and I really appreciate all of that type of stuff. They got a lot of details in here, just separating them both. As you can see, using more of the abilities and stuff, it starts to become a little confusing at times, but eventually you start to kind of get used to it with the combat. But even like with the web abilities, like, it's you're not just cycling through your different types of web shooter gear. Like, it's like quick keys, hotkeys, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if you would necessarily call it a hotkey per se, but it's a faster way to be able to use different types of web gadgets and stuff, rather than having to cycle through. And I think that is actually very handy. Because, yeah, when you were cycling through in the previous games, it would slow down time, so you would have more time to be able to pick whatever gadget you wanted to use. But this is even more helpful, because now you're able to just select one real quickly, without even really having to select it. You just hit two buttons, and you use that gadget. Um, but this right here is also uh, really cool. It's a neat way to switch between Peter and Miles, um, and that's actually a really cool detail. You use the app to be able to do it, um, and that's I think that's just a really big deal. Also, that charge jump too. This right here, that's that's a that's a cool way to do that. This this thing right here too, like that, being able to like do a whole like loop around with the webs, like that's something that you can unlock with the skill tree thing, which is what I decided to do. And it's so fun. You're able to use it in certain areas, um but like it's it's a lot of fun being able to use that, and you can use it for both Peter and Miles. That one. um I do like this little weapon yank here, where you can just throw the weapon back at him real quick. Like, that's very handy, and way more reliable than the weapon swing around thing. But ooh, the big guys are way more intimidating than they were in the first game. Now the parry thing is a little tricky to be able to get down. Um, but after a while, you can kind of get a hang of it and get a feel for it. This is also very interesting. Like Sandman's like crystal things, and it like he's still basically there technically, but the story kind of explains it a little bit better than I can. Um, yeah. So his these crystals are like supposedly part of Sandman's mind or whatever. As MJ said, I don't know. Um, there's probably more to it than that. That might be explained later on in the story, but who knows? But this was all uh, very interesting. You get to kind of understand Sandman more slowly. Yeah, there's definitely like some very sad backstory going on there, which it may be like due to like maybe his daughter or something uh, had died or something. Um, that was kind of the story with Spider-Man 3. His daughter didn't die; she was just very sick. Um, but I wonder if that's going to be the thing here. Maybe his daughter ended up dying. Um, and which is very sad, very tragic backstory and everything. But it would help you get to understand the character better. This part is actually really funny to me. You pull somebody out of the car, and they're gonna show they're gonna show who it is in a second. And it's actually pretty freaking funny. James. Oh man. I just think it's so absolutely ironic and really funny that they chose to have you save Jameson at one point. Because obviously, Jameson hates Spider Man. The idea of Spider Man is disgusting to him. So it's just so it's just so fitting that they would have Spider-Man save Jameson at one point, and of course he was gonna start freaking out like regardless. Like he was still gonna hate Spider-Man even though he's saving his life. Um, which makes sense for Jameson's character. But man, this was just a really funny detail that they added. This was pretty funny too. just love just love that they really like even in the first game they made sure Spider-Man had a lot of wit and everything, and they even got that here. It's real funny. Also like that they're yeah again with the ASL, and I'm not 100% sure. Like I've been practicing a little bit of ASL myself. I'm not uh super experienced in it, but I might do a little bit of research to see if the ASL in here is actually like accurate to real ASL. Um, but this is this part's very sad here. Yeah, it is a bummer, and I I'm actually surprised with how quickly it happened too. For Peter to get fired, like I had suspected that it would probably happen eventually, but for it to happen as soon as it did in the game and everything is actually very, very, very sad. But I figured it would probably happen at some point because being able to be Spider-Man and be a teacher at the same time, it's very different than Peter working for Dr. Octavius, because number one, like, Dr. Octavius was more than just his boss, he was also a friend. So Dr. Octavius was more understanding. Plus, you're working in a lab versus being a literal teacher where you've got to look after students and everything. So it makes sense why he would be fired like that eventually, you know. There's way less room for making uh, excuses. Um, but yeah, I think it's that was it's very sad. It really is. They also find new creative ways of bringing back old side quests and stuff. So this is obviously like the landmark photo shoot thing that you did in the first game, but now they're having new ways to do it. Also, like this too, you can just stumble upon Miles at any moment. Just in the game, like it's not just like you play as one character and the other one despawns or something like that, or you only see the other character in like the story mode or anything. It's legitimately like the character, you can just stumble upon them uh just out and about in the city. And I think that's a really cool, that's a really cool detail to add. Like, neither one of you ever have time to rest, so even though you're playing as one character, the other one is still out and about saving the city and everything just as much as you are. So that's really cool. These slingshot things are really cool too. Being able to just like zoom off with the slingshots, and you like get a ridiculous amount of distance off of it too. This was a pretty cool way of being able to switch between the suits too, um, which they're going to show right here. You actually have more, like, you're able to, as it says right here, you're able to make styles to your suits. So even though I've got like the advanced suit, um, I can make advanced suit 2.0 and choose between any one of these colors. Anybody can pick any one of these colors to choose from to add to it. So not only will I be able to unlock a bunch of cool suits, but I'll be able to add to them and change them to different styles and colors and stuff. And that's just really, really cool. I went with the red and black because I just thought that one looked the coolest. Um, but I think that's just another cool way of giving Spider-Man suits. I didn't mention I got the pre-order um and deluxe edition package so that I could get some more suits. I haven't used any of them yet because I just wanted to roam around with the new uh, red and black suit for a little bit. But eventually I am going to put on some other suits and just swing around the city with them. The change that they made to MJ too, like, obviously Peter has changed, but MJ, like, she looks a lot older as well, and maybe that's kind of the point. You know, they're trying to make them look more like adults because in the previous game they kind of looked they kind of looked like maybe they were uh, still in college, you know. Um, but now they kind of look more their age because obviously they've both already been out of college and stuff. They're working real careers and everything. They're actual adults. So I feel like this design choice fits the actual age description. I'm not sure what actual age they're both supposed to be, but obviously they are adults with careers and everything. So it makes sense that they would want to make those changes. Also, really cool detail. This is Aunt May's house. Um, and I think it's really cool that Peter um, inherited that uh, after Aunt May's passing and everything. Um, but uh, it's very sad because like Peter is also struggling to keep the place afloat. You know, he's really struggling to pay off the mortgage and everything. So yeah, that's really sad, and I really hope everything works out for Peter. I really don't want him to lose the house because I'm sure that means a lot to him as well. I also appreciate that they, like right here, they continue to mention Uncle Ben and everything. He's obviously a very big part of the story. In the first game, we didn't see him die or anything. He was already dead. But they still made mentions to him and everything. But I think it's very interesting. Just looking around some of the environment, you can see like right here they've got um, Spider-Man, the as a wrestler. They call him the Spider. I think that's really cool because obviously it seems like in this universe as well, he has been a wrestler, same as like in the first Spider-Man movie, you know. Um, but I think that was a really cool little Easter egg that you could wonder upon. It's actually very interesting here because Jameson is talking about Spider-Man, and obviously Peter is still very young here at this point. He's still a kid. So Jameson has been talking about Spider-Man for a long time, and Spider-Man's been very um, famous for a long time. So I think that's very fascinating. How long uh, Peter's been doing this. I also I appreciate these flashbacks, getting more of a backstory on Peter's youth in this universe, in the video game Spider-Man universe, and being able to go back and see May again. I appreciate a lot of this. Also, notice this little poster here saying "Learn Guitar." I wonder if that might be a nod to like Spider Punk or something. Um, I'm not sure if that's what they were going for or not, but it definitely made me wonder, like, what would Peter of all characters like want to do with learning guitar? You know. So I felt like maybe it was a Spider Punk reference, and maybe there's other references that I just didn't notice at that point. But also, Harry's back. I definitely love the pacing that this Spider-Man game has given us. Like this little bike ride thing. Like I know there's some people out there that may complain about this sort of thing, but you know it adds more experience and more of a interactive movie feel to uh to the game, you know. Um and I appreciate when games can do that because you know they definitely add more. It's like sure I love playing as Spider-Man, being able to swing around the city and fight crime and everything. It's a lot of fun, but sometimes it's able to just kind of slow things down a little bit. They do a tremendous job at pacing. You've already went and you fought the Sandman and everything. You've stopped all these criminals. Now we're going to tone it down a bit and just kind of take it easy for a little while before we start things back up again. I like how they talk about Flash. Flash obviously has been introduced before in Spider-Man, obviously being a huge bully. Um, uh, Bullied both Peter and Harry uh, in the Spider-Man universe and everything. It's interesting that they actually bring him up again. Uh, but then there's a smooth transition here. We get a flashback again to when Peter and Harry are both kids and they're sneaking around school trying to find like their project thing and everything, which I think was really cool. Also liked this, they do some stealth here. Um, but there's Flash in football cutout, cardboard cutout of Flash and football and everything. Um, so they kind of mention him again there. Also like this, kind of very obvious that Peter's still figuring out his powers and everything. Obviously, another cool thing is like Peter's been using has been creating web fluid um, at school, so that's pretty cool. They show all these details, but I think they just did a very good job at this whole thing. And now we flash forward to playing to as adults again. This was fun too, just being able to play basketball for a little bit. you know, I really enjoy when games do stuff like this. It's a nice little steady pace to the game. Then Norman comes by. um, but yeah, this is when Harry's mother had passed. It's so yeah, this was very 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 sad. Um, yeah, really that really hit hard. I know we already knew that Harry's mother died, but man, to just like see the reaction of him finding out when he did. He was a kid. It's crazy. And now Harry's offering Peter a job. Uh which is a big deal. I'm sure this is probably hopefully not going to end as badly as it did with the first one. Hope Harry doesn't end up being bad. I don't know if he will or not. I know obviously he's got the symbiote on him, but I'm not sure if Harry will become Venom or not. Like that's something that I was wondering about. Is like obviously he has the symbiote on him, or was being cured by the symbiote. It definitely makes me wonder whether he's going to become Venom. He doesn't act like he's got the symbiote on him. He seems very calm. Um, but it definitely makes me wonder like where they're going with the story. Like, will Harry end up being Venom? Will it somehow get passed on to Eddie somehow and he'll become Venom? Obviously Peter's supposed to get the symbiote at some point. We see that. Um, But yeah, right here is very clear that Craven was trying to find Sandman, but now they can't get him, so they got to go after somebody else. I do like this too. The wind current things, man, they give you such a ridiculous amount of speed. The updrafts, yeah, the updrafts too, making you go up higher. But yeah, using these, oh man, it's so much fun to use those with the wings and everything. It's a lot of fun. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little review. Obviously, I haven't showed too much of the game. I don't want to spoil too much that goes on in case other people want to play it. But this is just my review for what I've been playing so far. It's been a lot of fun. Love the combat. Love the flow of the gameplay. The look of the game. Everything looks amazing, except for me phasing into that guy there. But either way, the game is absolutely amazing. I've had a blast playing it. But I would definitely suggest you guys to play it for yourself because it is one heck of a game. Anyways, I'm gonna end this video here.